Today we are going to be answering a simple question. Barefoot shoes, yay or nay? Depending on who you talk to, you can get vastly different answers to that question, which can be as helpful as it is unhelpful. Well, I'd like to metaphorically throw my hat into the ring, or at the very least, kind of near it, and say that barefoot shoes have added a huge amount of value to my training, my movement, and my day-to-day life. So I first started wearing Vivos in 2019 when I attended a swim run event they were hosting on the south coast of England. I was invited along by a friend, and I must admit I was a little bit confused, perhaps somewhat cynical, as to what barefoot shoes had to do with a 40-kilometre swim run. Nonetheless, I had a great time and experienced the novelty of running in a wetsuit and swimming in a pair of trainers for the first time. And then I got myself my first pair of barefoot shoes to use in the gym, followed by my first day-to-day pair, followed by my first hiking boots, followed by my first trail shoes, and here we are, in Iceland, of all places. I was drawn into giving them a go for three main reasons. Number one, no interference between my feet and the ground when lifting. Number two, biomechanics. And number three, curiosity. So let's break down what I've experienced, but more importantly, what I've learned. Barefoot shoes are all about encouraging natural movement, hence why I'm delivering this point in front of a waterfall. The most important thing to consider as part of this discussion is that transitioning into barefoot shoes takes time, patience, and a bit of trial and error. It shouldn't be something that you dive right into, as the Born to Run saga from 2012 has suitably demonstrated. Day one for me was odd, and rightly so, because I was going from a 6 to 10 millimeter drop height with some cushioning and quite a narrow toe box to zero drop, zero cushioning, and a wide toe box. 1001, 1002. Whew. I immediately felt my feet working a lot harder, clearly utilising some of their 29 muscles more than they ever had done before. I feel like my stride length shortened when walking and became a lot more conscious of how I was moving. But in my lifting and my walking, I felt much more aware of my biomechanics and connected to how I was moving. I noticed that each time my steps per day increased, there was a little bit of inertia to break through before it felt totally natural. It was after about 90 days where not only had I felt like I'd adjusted, but I felt great. It's important to mention at this point that I wasn't running in barefoot shoes, and I only ever really have done for short trail runs. My suspicion is that the Born to Run narrative created the misconception that you had to go all in, embrace barefoot running, or nothing. I don't personally advocate for that and believe that most, if not all, of the physical benefits of barefoot shoes can be achieved without running in them. But we'll come back to a little bit more detail, in my opinion, on where barefoot shoes do have a place in running later on. The good news is that VivoBarefoot offer a 100-day free trial, so you can try them for yourself to see how you get on and where you go from there. Oh God! Whew. So if you're keen to give them a go, use FC25 for 25% off. Now, before I dive into some of the studies around barefoot shoes, I feel it's important to be honest with the overall conclusion from the scientific community. There are a lot of studies out there, however, much of the research isn't yet entirely conclusive. But it does seem that a lot of the love for the barefoot lifestyle that goes beyond a few key points is primarily anecdotal. That being said, there are two robust studies that indicate that daily activity in barefoot shoes can measurably increase foot strength. First of all, this study from Liverpool University in 2021 that concluded that daily activity in barefoot footwear can increase foot strength by up to 60%. As well as this one from the American College of Sports Medicine, which concluded that walking in minimalist shoes is effective for strengthening foot muscles. Also, for any parents watching, there is a meta-analysis, which is the study of studies, on the impact of barefoot footwear on children. All of the studies that I've mentioned are linked down below so you can check them out for yourself, and you can use those to make informed decisions as to what suits you, the individual, best. The key thing I personally focus on with this discussion is that the evidence supports strengthening around the ankle and foot structure through building tolerance, load, and volume as you would with any other training. Anecdotally speaking, throughout ultras, triathlons, lifting heavy stones, or simply trying not to roll my ankle trail running, my ankles and feet feel much more robust than they did before I used barefoot shoes on a daily basis. So let me be totally transparent about when I use Vivos and when I don't, because I think there's been a little bit of confusion on the channel in the past. I'm going to break this down into 4 categories and share which of the current range are used for what purpose. Lifestyle. The Gobi sneaker has become my daily driver and covers me for about 90% of the time given that I don't wear a suit or a uniform day to day. If I'm attending a more formal event, that's where I'll opt for a more traditional pair of shoes, but almost immediately want to take them off. I've walked upwards of 30,000 steps in a day around cities in these, and I felt great. And for comparison, if I spent one day at a wedding, for example, in a pair of smart shoes, my feet, my ankles, sometimes even my knees and my hips would feel battered the following day. A great place to start if you're looking to give a pair a go day to day. The motor strength has become an absolute staple for me, and you won't need to go back very far on the channel at all to see these make a frequent appearance. Slip on, great grip, breathable, my daily gym training shoe. The only time I won't wear these in the gym is if I have a pair of Olympic lifting shoes on to manipulate a slightly more upright position on some squat variations. Removing any instability between you and the ground when lifting will make you stronger as a result of being able to create more tension. So, barefoot shoes make you more stronger? I'm kidding. I obviously can't make such a claim, but they do definitely give you a stable base from the ground upwards, which can make for better executed lifting. Another great starting point to consider if you spend time in the gym. Hiking. The tracker textile is my current weapon of choice and has recently served me well in torrential rain in the Scottish Highlands, as well as right here in Iceland, tackling the legendary Husafellstone. The only time I would reluctantly put on a different type of boot is if I was using crampons, but when I did this last, they felt so alien on my feet, I really didn't enjoy my approach hike. There is a huge emphasis on ankle support in hiking boots, which generally speaking I think is over-relied upon, and can in fact further facilitate weakness around the joint. These boots allow your feet to move freely and for you to be able to strengthen your ankle structure. Again, as long as you build up your volume tolerance cautiously. Plus, and this is the biggest one for me, these are so much lighter than conventional hiking boots, which allows me to feel much more dynamic, free to move, and connected to the environment in which I'm moving in. Running. A lot of my running is performance focused, so I'll wear trainers like this or trail shoes like this. Why? Well, because the cushioning allows me to run further and faster by leveraging modern technology. However, a key point here can be that barefoot running can be a fantastic calibration point to make sure that you aren't only relying on modern technology. By this, I mean that a significant proportion of running injuries can come from overstriding, which can often be masked by cushioned shoes. The transient impact load of every stride is significant, and if we are overstriding, then all of that force is going directly up into our ankle structure and shin, rather than directly up into the rest of our body. So, a great way to drill your gait to focus on landing directly beneath your body is to use a pair of barefoot shoes. Because in a pair of running shoes, if you slam your heel out in front of you, you may well feel fine. Whereas if you do it in a pair of barefoot shoes, you're probably gonna know about it. If you want to embrace barefoot running and the culture around it, then please do. However, don't feel that you need to go in and fully convert to running only in barefoot shoes rather than finding a middle ground that suits you best. Stronger feet, stronger ankles, and stronger calves that can all be developed through daily activity in barefoot footwear can make you a more robust runner overall. You can literally make gains without training. The dream. Right? The key detail here is that all Vivos are wide, thin, and flexible. And aside from style or grip, the premise and feel is the same. So there isn't much merit to me reviewing each individual shoe rather than by category. The grip and material dictates utility for whatever environment, the style dictates the utility for most outfits, but the function dictates the utility for your feet. So for my final point, I want to make a bold statement, which may well be controversial, and that is that if you have the means to do so, I reckon that everybody should try barefoot shoes at least once. I think that the biomechanical advantages, the strengthening of the joints, and the fact that they just feel great makes them worth a try. If you're a lifter, give a pair a go for the gym. If you're a dog walker, grab a pair to walk the dog in. If you're a city worker, grab a pair to commute in. If you're a runner, grab a pair to drill your gait in. If you're a cynic, well, so was I. But I tried them, I love them, and I now can't live without them. Just a reminder as well that if you are looking to give them a go, then Vivo offer a 100-day free trial and you can get 25% off with the code FC25. If that has expired, you can use the code FC20 instead. And if that's also expired, then check the top comment in the description, as that will have the most up-to-date code. Hopefully that's been insightful. That is 5 years in Vivo Barefoot shoes from my end, my personal perspective, the things that I see as valuable. So thank you very much for watching. Any questions, drop them down below. Goodbye.